In this video, I'm going to share with you some really simple tips that you can use to help you create almost a perfect backswing position. So creating a good backswing isn't easy. You know, we all have to do it. We all have to, from our starting position, move the club away from the golf ball, and how we do that can really influence the movements on the way down and then obviously the ball flight. And we see lots of issues with the backswing, lots of golfers who struggle to get the golf club on plane, lots of golfers who struggle to control what their body does. So we're going to run through some pretty simple ideas here, very clear ideas on what is involved in your backswing and what things need to be there in order to help you improve yours. Now, in order to do this, or I should say in order to explain this, we're going to just take a normal upright standing position and just put the club out in front of us. Now, the only difference between this and golf posture is golf posture we're tipped over the golf ball by a certain amount, but effectively the same things apply. So if I was in this position and we put a horizontal line around my body, give or take, we want that club head to pretty much stay on that line. I'm sure we'd all agree that as we turn, if that golf club goes up this way or it comes down this way, that wouldn't be a particularly great backswing shape. And if we did that in posture, that would be the equivalent to taking the club this way or taking the club this way. Now, you might be one of those golfers who has looked on camera and you've seen your club move in some directions that you don't particularly want it. You've maybe seen the golf club too flat or too steep, and you've seen all those recovery movements that many golfers make from there. So if I stood in this position and all I did was I rotated my body away from the target, it would actually be very easy to keep that club on that horizontal line. It wouldn't be that difficult. But as I'm sure you can probably appreciate from here, I'm not going to be able to generate much power. And a lot of the power from your golfing comes from what you do with the hands and the arms. Now, one of those power sources would be the wrist set. So notice what happens as I rotate my body and add in some wrist set. Well, I've created a bit of power, but suddenly that golf club has moved quite a long way away from that horizontal line. So this would be, in the golf swing, we take the club away and we move the club up such as this. And again, that probably doesn't look quite right. So as we take our starting position from here, as we add wrist set to create power, we also add rotation of our arms to keep the club on that horizontal line. You can see that club is now back sort of level with where it was at the start. And the reason it's on that line is because I've basically got wrist set and I've got arm rotation, and they're perfectly matched. And when they're perfectly matched, we get the golf club moving around our body on a really pleasing to look at angle. And that's what often many of the best golf swings will have. So as we do that from the golf setup, if I use my wrist set, you can see the club moves significantly off plane. But as I then rotate my arms, the club moves back onto plane. Now, a really good backswing blends those two things together really nicely. And if we did it from here, you can see how I can keep that club at this horizontal position and I can start to add in those two movements. So when I get to this point here, I've got a little bit of body rotation, my wrists have set, my forearms have rotated, and I've managed to keep that golf club on that horizontal line. And this is a great drill for you if you struggle with your backswing shape, to really get the sensation of how the wrist set and the arm rotation have to blend. And straight away from here, you might be that golfer who starts to move the club down far too quickly. And if you look at your golf swing, you'd be this golfer. You might straight away use the wrists too soon, and again, you'd be this golfer. So from here, it's much easier to see because we can visualize that horizontal line around our body, and we can start to add some rotation of the upper body, and we can start to blend those two movements together in order to keep the club on that horizontal line. And if you can start to do that when you're in golf posture, you're going to start to be able to have a golf swing which has got a really nice shape to it, and you're going to be able to get that golf club into a really nice position at the top of your golf swing. So the blend of the wrists and the arms is really important for the shape. But we also need some rotation. You know, that body has to turn in order to get the golf club to move a little bit further. So really what we can sort of say here is that a perfect backswing is a blend of some wrist set, some arm rotation, and some body rotation. And those three things are going to get almost any golfer into a really nice position in order to start the downswing. But the rotation has to be correct, and it has to be on an angle. Just watch what happens when I create those two movements at the start. There's my wrist set. There's my arm rotation. That sets the golf club on a nice angle. But watch what happens if, when I turn my body, I turn my shoulders on the incorrect angle. Well, suddenly, because my shoulders have turned too flat, the golf club appears too flat. And if I was to do the opposite, if I was to create this nice perfect wrist set here and turn my shoulders too steeply, the golf club appears too steeply. So if you're that golfer who's looked at your golf swing on camera and you've seen that golf club doesn't look quite right going back, we almost need to try and establish, is it because you're not turning your shoulders on the correct angle? Or is it because you don't quite have the right blend of the wrist set and the forearms? So here's a great little drill that you can do to encourage all those things to happen nicely. Take your address, hold the golf club down onto the metal, and just imagine you can set it to the ball. Add your wrist set in, add your arm rotation in, and then as you rotate your body, you should be able to get the grip to point about, and that's the key word, it's about, at the ball line. If we turn too flat, it's outside. If we turn too steep, it's inside. So I can start to blend my wrists, my forearms, and my shoulder turn, and I've got a nice reference point there to suggest that I've turned my body on the right angle, and that's really going to help me create that nice backswing position. Now, I would actually get you to practice this way. If this is something that you feel that you need to work on, I would actually get you to take a setup, create the wrist set, create the forearm rotation, and then from there you can just turn back and give it a hit. So let's go ahead and do that. So we go wrist set, forearm rotation, turn the shoulders, and then you can go and hit. And it's a really great place to start in order to, you know, feel what that really nice top of the backswing position is like, where we've got a really nice blend of those things, and they can really help us get that club in a neutral position. And the key thing would be, if we get the club fairly neutral at the top, we don't have to make as many compensations in the way down, and that's where we can really start to get some consistency from in the golf swing. Really hope that helps. Some simple ideas there on how to create a perfect backswing, get the wrist set, the arm rotation, and the body turn matched up, and you can have a better looking backswing and give you better shots on the course. Thanks for watching. Usual stuff is down below, comments box down there, like button, and also if you're not a subscriber, I would love it to be part of the community. I really believe these videos can help you play some of the best golf of your life. Thanks for watching.